What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA podcast, MMA show. We are back. Happy Monday, everybody. We are coming off the heels of a great fight for Fusion Fight League over the weekend in Montana. This one was in Billings, Montana. We had a blast. We had some crazy finishes. We saw one of the craziest knockouts ever by the Sabretooth, I believe is his nickname, Danny Trejo. Oh yeah, super duper Sabretooth. So that guy is an absolute legend. I hope so badly he makes it to the UFC one day, but he's had a couple of back-to-back just banger fights, just complete first round KOs. He's got that crazy power. So anyways, we are going to get back into the mix. Surprisingly, we're still just under 2 weeks away from our first UFC event, and almost like 6 weeks it'll have been. But regardless, we have a lot of news and a lot of things that we actually need to talk about today. One of those things in particular, or multiple of these stories that we're going to be talking about, have to do with the Real American Freestyle event that happened on Saturday. I feel like this organization it's taken the world of mixed martial arts and combat sports by storm. And I figured, Justin, that this is something that you might be very interested in as well, being a wrestling coach. So I'm very curious to hear Justin's opinion on Real American Freestyle and everything that's happening in this organization. Actually, Justin, let's start off the bat with that. Tell me about what is your feeling about Real American Freestyle? Because I'm not even a wrestler, but I've been blown away by the hype that they're getting and even the smack talking that's happening now that Colby's a part of it.
Yeah, and if you guys saw, there was a couple wrestlers. I'm thinking about the Muggsy, and then you got that YouTube or the Instagram star that I bet $1,000 you can't take me down. Him and Muggsy got into it. They actually got in a weird altercation. I felt it was a little fabricated, a little WWE for my liking. They were they were kind of like talking shit, and then they just start wrestling at this event and venue, and it just felt a little pushed because, again, if this was a real hostile situation, they'd be throwing punches and stuff. But they're still selling the event. And I think it's a great platform for freestyle wrestling. A lot of people that don't know freestyle wrestling, they're bringing in big names. Colby Covington, regardless if you like him or hate him, he's a great wrestler. Wrestled Luke Rockhold, tuned him up. Yoel Romero, coming back. It's something that we're going to see. I'm 100% sure. Why can't I think of his name? The heavyweight that we've been talking about, Gable Steveson. He's going to be probably doing that, being the Olympic champion. It's a great platform for MMA fighters to get their name out there, wrestle, and not take serious injury. And I believe that these guys are paying well too.
They are. I was just going to talk about that. I think some of the headliners, paying them well, it's not obviously what they would make in the UFC, but I've heard they're getting like 10, 20, and 30,000 in some of these cases, which is amazing. And that's exactly what Arman Tsarukyan said. He said, this is great. The UFC has no issue with it. Plus, it's a very low risk of injury compared to even grappling. There can be a greater risk of injury, but here there's no submission. So with that straight wrestling match, it's awesome. But having somebody like Colby, actually, I've gone back and forth, right, about Colby. I've said sometimes where he's really gotten on my nerves with things that he says, and I think he takes it too far. But I got to admit, man, seeing him in RAF talking smack to Bo Nickal was actually awesome. And I think he brought a lot of good publicity and good press to the event because it's funny. It's like Colby's weird brand of smack talk and like the scripts that he writes and all that stuff. Sometimes it really works. Sometimes he was really funny. And I'm going to show you that clip early on today. But I feel like the big story is Arman Tsarukyan and what he did at the RAF event over the weekend. And I want to show this to you, Justin, because I want to get your thoughts about just what kind of a freak athlete Arman Tsarukyan really is, because it's making me want to see him more and more step up and get that title shot. By the way, first, Tehran says, what's up? Huzefa and Justin, what's up, Tehran? And Mr. Clapper's back. It's time for some UFC. Yes, go for it.
I was just saying hi to
all right, now we're going to start with this clip right here, and I want to get your thoughts, Justin, about what you're seeing here. You're obviously the wrestling master, and wrestling and grappling better than anybody. So Arman has no background wrestling. He never wrestled in college. There wasn't a high school wrestling program. He's just a wrestler and a grappler in mixed martial arts, a great one to boot. But listen, I want you to watch this and give me your thoughts as a wrestler and a wrestling coach. By the way, that's Lance Palmer. I'm sure you know who Lance Palmer is, but for those of you guys who don't know.
I trained with Lance Palmer.
Okay, so there we go. Hold on, let me mute this. How do I mute this? There we go. Okay. Look what he did to Lance Palmer. Everybody was blown away. He teched him. He got 10. He won 10-0. Justin, everybody was shocked because everybody thought Lance was going to do that to Arman Tsarukyan, and yet Arman did this to Lance Palmer. What are we seeing right now? What is this? Who is this Arman Tsarukyan?
I mean, I'm not surprised about it. We're talking about one of the best fighters in the UFC, and Lance Palmer is great. You know, he's a great PFL champion, but he's a former PFL champion. He hasn't had a lot of success in the PFL in recent years. I think he's over the hill. I don't think he trains as much as he did at one point. And you know, wrestling is a perishable skill. Like Arman is grappling and wrestling and training every day. Lance, I mean, as much as I like Lance a lot. I don't have anything bad to say about him. He's been a great teammate. He's every time, you know, he goes out of his way to say hi to me. Like not that we have long conversations or anything, but he's always been, I have nothing ill to say about the guy, but at the end of the day, wrestling's a perishable skill, and I'm 100% sure he's not focusing on his craft like Arman Tsarukyan is.
Okay,
so I don't give it that much credit. I mean, cool. I mean, he beat a great PFL champion and a great wrestler at one time, but I feel that Lance, I honestly, I think if Lance and I wrestled like in RAF, I'm not saying that I would beat him, but I'm not saying he would beat me either. I think it'd be very close. It's just something that we don't do very much anymore. You know what I mean? Like I probably wrestle more than Lance does. So, I mean, yeah, it's a good win. It's a quality win, but I'm not overly impressed by it.
Okay, because I thought everybody was kind of blown away. People thought that Arman Tsarukyan was going to get smashed, and then he beat him. Not only beat him, he beat him 10-0. But okay, that's good to get your thoughts there. And what do you think? Oh yeah, go for it.
Another piece is Lance is a featherweight coming up. Arman has struggled making 155 before. So I mean, he's going to be the bigger guy. He's going to be the stronger guy. And in freestyle wrestling, understand freestyle to folk style. A tech fall in folk style is 15 points. A tech fall in freestyle is 10 points. Now, in freestyle, did you see how he's behind him? He locked his hands under his belly and he rolled.
Yeah.
Every time he does that, he gets 2 points. All right.
Okay.
In folk style, that would be 0 points. So there's a lot more techs in freestyle, and a lot of guys can get that body lock. And when you have the strength like Arman Tsarukyan does, and when I did my Spain tournament, I did a freestyle tournament in Spain last year, and on the feet, I did well with everybody. But once it hit the ground and I was on the ground, I was a fish out of water, and I think I got tech twice because once they lock in that body lock, and if they have a proper technique like Arman Tsarukyan obviously has, it's almost impossible to get out of. And you're just going to get tech.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, I forgot to put up this first topic, by the way. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so Arman smashes Lance Palmer. Okay, and then another question I had, him and Michael Chandler were kind of talking some smack back and forth to each other. But then Michael Chandler said, look, Arman's a great fighter. He's a great MMA athlete. But he's like, that wasn't the right Lance Palmer. He's like, I don't think Lance Palmer looked his best, which is, I think, what you're saying as well. But he says, yeah, I got to be honest. He's like, I'm a college wrestler. If Arman wants to step into RAF with me, he was like, I would destroy him. I would mop the floor with him. It wouldn't even be close. And Arman says, all right, let's do it. Let's set it up. Let's actually wrestle in RAF. What do you think about that? Michael Chandler versus Arman Tsarukyan. How do you think that would go?
I think Michael Chandler's fishing for a paycheck because Arman is at the peak of his career. Michael Chandler's at the bottom of his career. Unfortunately, you know, being a Mike Chandler fan or a former Mike Chandler fan, former Mike Chandler teammate, he's just not where he used to be. Again, it's perishable, man. Mike Chandler doesn't wrestle in his fights, which tells me he's not training wrestling. Arman does wrestle in his fights. Arman does grapple. Mike Chandler doesn't, and he's going to be far behind the curve. I think he's fishing for a paycheck.
He might be. I want to see it. Dude, I'm becoming a massive Arman Tsarukyan fan. And I know we did the whole breakdown of Arman. If you ever see our breakdown of you when you pulled out of the UFC fight, yes, we do think that maybe it was related to weight and not the back. I don't know. We're open to being proven wrong, but I hope you realize, hey, regardless, we're really, really big fans of you. I mean, dude, this guy is coming out. He's staying so active. He did what he did to Dan Hooker. That was a phenomenal fight. He absolutely destroyed him. I actually think the UFC likes him as well. I think the only reason why he didn't get this fight coming up is just pure business. They just thought it would be a much bigger bang if they had Patty versus Justin Gaethje, and it would be an incredible fight. But I think Arman is going to get his shot soon, and I can't wait for it, dude. On top of it, the guy's funny. He's 29. He's not even in his prime yet. He's pre-prime, and he's doing all this damage. I gotta say, dude, I think he smashes Ilia Topuria. I'm gonna put it out there. I really do. I don't think Ilia will get in on him and to use that boxing. I think Arman does a great job with his kicks. He's super flexible. I think he's definitely gonna have the wrestling and grappling advantage, even though Ilia's no slouch on the ground. But I want to see that fight. I really want to see Arman versus Ilya. I think Arman smashes the entire division. We got a couple comments here. Maverick is back in the mix. He says Arman smashes MMA Guru. We're going to be talking about that later in the show. Let's go. MMA Guru stepped into the ring for real with Arman Tsarukyan today. Yeah, it was I think yesterday. The pair had a brief grappling exchange. Yeah, we're gonna play that a little bit later. On his face, yeah, he threw him on his face. So Justin, we'll get your thoughts on MMA Guru's grappling skills. I think Josh Thompson gave a really interesting take on a show. I was listening on Bad Takes yesterday. 3 years later, oh my God, bro, I just made a video about Chandler calling for the Conor fight. Dude, I feel really bad for him. The thing is, I actually think it's in jeopardy. Just from I'm speculating. I want to check out my video. It says panicked on the thumbnail. I made a video yesterday saying that I think Chandler is panicking that fight's not going to happen. He must know something, or maybe his management is telling that, hey, there's other guys in the mix, because he went on this whole spiel about, hey, it shouldn't be Nate Diaz. He didn't mention him by name, but like, it's got to be me, and I'm the one. And he's praising Conor, which I think is another ploy to try and get Conor to really push for the fight against Chandler. But I think it might be in a little bit of jeopardy. This is speculation, okay, but we'll see. Anyways, yeah, 3 years later, still talking about the Conor fight. If he gets it, though, it'll be worth it, because if they actually headline or co-main this event, he'll get more exposure in that one fight than he could in doing 50 fights. So it will be pretty special. Okay, now we're moving on to Colby Covington in the same RAF event. Justin, you were pretty confident that Colby's wrestling credentials and wrestling pedigree was just going to be too much for Luke Rockhold, despite the size difference. But true to form, he went in there and he smashed Luke Rockhold. He's even talking about moving up to 185 in the UFC and coming back and taking some fights. First of all, give us your reaction to Colby. I think he also beat Luke Rockhold 10-0. I think he smashed him pretty badly. But give me your reaction to Colby defeating Luke. Are you surprised at any bit, or not at all?
No, not at all. I think we talked about it when we were in Montana. Colby has an incredible wrestling pedigree, and unfortunately for Luke Rockhold, I mean, he was a great champion, but I don't think Luke Rockhold has had any success in any organization he's been to since losing his championship. He's went to bare knuckle. He got his teeth knocked out. I think he got his jaw broke or just his teeth knocked out. He went to RAF, didn't have success. I think he went to karate combat. Don't think he had success in karate combat. Unfortunately, Luke Rockhold's at a point in his career where he's living off his name and he's just collecting paychecks.
So they were talking about this on Ariel's show in the morning, and I wanted to get your thoughts. So we'll go through what has happened with Luke Rockhold. I'm trying to find all those events. Yeah, he did bare knuckle. He did also that kind of fun fight against Darren Till and the boxing match, and he lost. Now he lost this one. Maybe also karate combat. I don't remember the karate combat one, but that's okay. So let's say 3 or 4 fights, something along those lines, that he's lost. Do you think this hurts his legacy?
No, here's the thing, man. It's crazy. I just listened to this thing with Mike Tyson talking about legacy, and he's saying essentially legacy doesn't matter because how many generations are people going to be talking about Luke Rockhold? And he says,
I so agree.
It's like, yeah, after Mike Tyson dies, he's going to be talked about for a couple more years, and then he's going to be just a dust in the wind, essentially. And I think Luke Rockhold, when you're at this point in your career, don't worry about legacy. Worry about, collecting a paycheck, taking care of the bills, taking care of the family. And I'm pretty sure that's what Luke Rockhold is. I don't think Luke Rockhold has an exceptional legacy to begin with. He has a great resume. He's a former UFC champion, but it's not like he was on this huge streak or something, or he was a 3-belt champion. He was just a normal champion. And to say normal champion, like I'm downplaying him being a UFC champion. Obviously, that's a credible feat. But I mean, out of sight, out of mind. People come into Extreme Couture. Randy Couture is a 5-time or 6-time world champion. People come into Extreme Couture and ask me, who's Randy Couture? And he's still alive and well. So I don't think legacy really matters.
No, so I'm 100% with you in that. I've came to that conclusion long time ago that actual legacy is kind of a silly notion that you want your name to live on forever. First of all, it probably won't, but even if it does, who cares? You're not around, and what's really the value of that? But I think when people talk about legacy, realistically, what they mean is their reputation, probably while they're still around. How are people going to look at you and view you as a fighter? Somebody like Khabib, who stepped away on top, they just view him as almost this immaculate perfect fighter with a perfect record that did all these tremendous things. And I think that's really more what's going to be valuable to the person, is how do people react and respond to you during that time. But for Luke, I guess, so the more pertinent question is, does this change the way in the short term, I guess, or even in the long term for the duration of his life, how people look at him? My answer would be, regardless of whether you believe in the notion of legacy having value or not, I don't think it doesn't change the way I look at him, for example, because he's just trying all these different sports that aren't his bread and butter. He's trying boxing. He's not a boxer. He's trying a real American freestyle wrestling. He's not a freestyle wrestler. So to me, he's just getting out there, collecting some paychecks and doing some fun matchups. And his name value is still there. People still want to see him fight and push himself. So I don't think it does anything negative to his quote unquote legacy whatsoever. But that's my
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
Tehran says, what do you guys think about a potential? It's not happening. There's no way it'll happen. There's no way that Colby, so we're going to talk about this in a second. Colby won't take that fight because he's being super selective about who he fights now as he nears the end of his career. I think if he does, I'm actually really happy to hear that he's moving up to middleweight, because as much as he bothers me sometimes, I have to admit, I tune in when he shows up. And he did not disappoint at the press conference. And this time, his brand of humor, actually, it worked. Like when he was going at Bo Nickal, it was actually kind of funny. And I'm going to play a clip of him and Luke Rockhold just tag teaming Bo. Dude, they ripped Bo Nickal up. And I think Bo Nickal was pretty pissed off about it, because he went on an interview later and he's like, I can't believe he did that. It was very disrespectful. And to bring up, well, you're gonna hear the clip in a second. But now Colby won't fight Bo because I think, even if Colby could realistically beat Bo Nickal in MMA, the chance that he would lose is actually there. And I think it's too much of a risk for him. I think he wants really big names that are a little bit more winnable for him, older fighters. I think that's what he's angling for. We'll see, though. But you're right. It would be, I pray that he fights Bo Nickal, just like I prayed he would fight Ian Gary. I just don't think it's going to happen. Yeah, Colby won't fight. Yeah, Mr. Clapper's in agreement with me. Colby won't fight Nickal. He's scared to get beat. Yeah, 100%. You hit the nail on the head. Not scared to fight, but scared, exactly, scared to lose. And that's the truth, and I don't think it's going to happen. Okay, we're going to move on now to the next topic. Dude, this is you're going to love this, Justin. Good old-fashioned smack talk. And I think this is just what RAF needs. I don't think RAF really wants this, because fully, because they even stopped Luke Rockhold and Colby from just teeing off on Bo Nickal. They kind of had to stop them a little bit. I think because I also say they like Bo Nickal, but I got to tell you, man, this was the most interesting press conference from RAF, even from the UFC in a while. It was a really good one. Check this out.
I'm just here to save wrestling, you got some boring entitled bozos in this building that think they should be in the headliner. My name's in history in Madison Square Garden for being the biggest draw there, I'm not out here giving the Sandusky special.
You remember Sandusky?
No.
Oh, you don't know? Dude, that's the coach from Penn State with that shirt you're wearing. That's the coach from Penn State that I'm not going to go into details, but there were bad allegations of what he was doing with kids. Basically, the worst allegations you can imagine, horrendous. And he eventually got arrested and charged criminally, and he's now in prison for the rest of his life. I don't even know. He might not even be alive anymore, but it was a huge scandal. He was parts of all these boys clubs and all these youth wrestling programs, and he was a big part of the community. And then all of a sudden, all these kids started stepping forward, or I think even some of them were adults. It was horrible. He's bringing up that's Colby, true to form, bringing up the deepest, darkest crap that he can bring up related to Bo Nickal. All right, so let's keep it going here.
You get beat up by a Dutch kickboxer? I forgot. Remember, your cardio, you got beat up by a Dutch kickboxer. That's right. Come on, Bo. Come on, bro. Have you ever been a main event? No, you've never been a main event. Come on, bro. Hey, how many times did you shower at Happy Valley at the Penn State with Jerry Sandusky? I gotta know. I really gotta know. It's entitled bozos like this that just kill the sport of wrestling. We need stars. We need people that are willing to be vocal and call their shots.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be too easy, bro. You're a bum. Come on, dude. You're a Dutch kid. You got broken by a Dutch kickboxer, man. Come on, dude. No, come on. You're a bum, dude. You're nobody. What are we never been a main event? There's a reason.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about big money up here, not nobodies. We're talking about Luke Rockhold, first ballot Hall of Famer, not some unproven kid in the corner that's never done anything.
you should make the top 10 before you start talking about a sport that builds another sport. The reason our wrestling here is on the stage is because of MMA. And you've done absolutely nothing in the sport of MMA. You quit. You quit before the knee even hit you, Bo. So just button it up. Button it up.
Look how bad he's crying. He's crying over in the corner.
I won. How many world championships have I won? What have you done on a world stage? Absolutely nothing. You're a college bum. Shut up.
I mean, to call him a college bum is kind of silly because he's a national champion.
So do you see the guys are trying to move it along because they have a good relationship with Bo Nickal. Bo Nickal's been a big supporter of RAF, but did you see they cut him off on that rant? But Justin, yo, let me turn it over to you. This was an epic tag team. Look, you and I, we're fans of Bo Nickal. We've said this many times. We like Bo Nickal. We want to see him compete. I think he's been almost a little too vocal criticizing Khamzat Chimaev and other people before even making it anywhere near the top 10. So I think that's why he's getting all this criticism. But that stuff aside, what did you think about that moment where they tag teamed them? Again, they're fighting each other, but they tag team Bo Nickal. Give us your thoughts.
I mean, it's great publicity. It's great sales technique, but Bo Nickal has done 100 times more than Luke Rockhold and Colby Covington ever did in wrestling. I'm not saying MMA, but wrestling. Right. And talk about his MMA career. He's still young in MMA. How many years has Luke Rockhold been in MMA? How many years has Colby Covington been in MMA? How many years has Bo Nickal been in MMA? To criticize his wrestling credentials and calling him a college wrestling bum, we're talking about an NCAA champion, arguably at a point in his career, the best college wrestler at his weight class, in his weight class, in all of the country. And there's international. It's just silly. I thought it was silly.
I actually, even though let's say it might be a little bit silly and out of place, but I don't know. It brings something to the presser. I think it's valuable. I think it's good for RAF. Maybe they don't want this to be the ultimate, they be known for this type of antics in the press conference, but I think it's good. I think they should have Colby back. And I don't know. I was a fan of it. Felt a little bit bad for Bo Nickal, but I was a fan. Tehran says Colby versus Izzy. What in RAF? Are you saying? Oh, Colby versus Izzy. Yeah, middleweight. That's a dope fight. We got somebody new in the mix. A lot of pooping talk. I'm not going to go through all these, but yeah, man, do your thing. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you. Okay, let's move it along from this trash talk. But I think it's very interesting. I'd like to see Colby back, and I will show up and watch the next event for sure if Colby's on it. So I don't know. I've been kind of annoyed with Colby lately. He's kind of won me back over, which is pretty interesting. So we'll see how that goes. And all right, now let's get into the mix here. We're going to go to this clip that went totally viral. Justin, you're not going to see great wrestling here from MMA Guru, but in his, to his defense, he's not a wrestler. He's a karate guy. He did train martial arts growing up, but he's definitely out of his element here. There was a $20,000 bet from Arman Tsarukyan to MMA Guru that if he could take Arman down once, and dude, you'll see MMA Guru is huge. He's like 260 pounds. He's a big guy.
6'3", I believe, right?
Yeah. He's 6'3" or 6'4". He says in the mornings he's 6'4". I don't know, but yeah. So he comes in and tries to take Arman down for a minute. So check this out.
Let's go. Come on, Arman. You gonna take it out of your shoes or no?
No. He's gonna single leg me.
He was trying with. Oh my, damn it.
I'm not.
Well, come on, Guru.
This grip strength that he's got.
Just get his leg. He can't be that bad. 40 seconds. Even 10 minutes, brother. That's crazy. From his head, dude.
Have you got on a single at least?
What are you talking about?
Bro, I worked all my day.
20 seconds. Oh, that was so close. 15. 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4.
All right, there it is. He's getting a lot of crap for this. today. People are really going off and sorry, I accidentally did single view. Are talking trash about MMA Guru. I don't think that's really fair. I mean, what is your take of the technique or lack thereof that you just saw from MMA Guru?
I mean, there wasn't any technique. It was he just tried to like push forward and fall down when he got snapped. There was not one iota of any wrestling or grappling. I mean, he had wrist control and he'd fall down when he went forward. I mean, it looked kind of silly. I mean, I'm not going to criticize him. He's not a wrestler. He's not a grappler. I mean, that's like, hey, imagine you and I switching jobs. Hey, you're a personal trainer for kickbox or let's say wrestling, and I'm a math tutor. Like, I'm going to look silly. I'm not going to know what I'm talking about. And imagine you trying to explain wrestling to a group of kids. You know
I'll crush it, dog. I'll crush it. You have no idea.
You got to make it. You got to fake it till you make it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And dude, I give no negative response to what Guru did. I don't know. That's the thing with MMA fans, man. Like, they want to criticize, dude. He's just in there having fun. Like, it's not serious.
Exactly.
And obviously he doesn't know what he's doing. And I'm not even a huge MMA Guru fan. He's grown on me a little bit in recent years. I didn't like him at first because of how critical he was. But dude, let the guy, he's out there having fun, man. He's just messing around. Like, that'd be like you coming to the gym and you and I rolling together. Like, how is your technique going to look? And
I think
basically I could have, I mean, you might catch me with like an ankle pick or something with your length, but you know,
I
at
think
the
you'd
end of
have
the day, like, who's going to
have a-
criticize you for getting in there and just messing around? And anybody that criticized Guru is a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I think you'd have a rough time grappling with me, I think. But, you know, we won't do
Well,
that.
once you got me tired, you'd probably have your way.
Yeah, right. Okay, but anyways, yeah, and also, is it impressive to you whatsoever, given that Guru's probably got like 70 pounds on Arman Tsarukyan? Is that impressive that Arman had such an easy time against Guru, or no?
No, let me tell you this, and I'm going to brag a little bit. So, you know, I'm trying to think. He was a defensive end for the Cowboys. He fought in the UFC. Greg Hardy.
Yeah.
Greg Hardy, 6'6", 280 pounds, the most biggest and strongest guy I've ever worked with. Sorry, I'm just getting into school. I mean, I just had my way with Greg. I remember picking him up, carrying him around, man. We're talking about a guy that's 280 pounds. When it came to wrestling, he didn't know how to wrestle. He was big and strong, bigger than Guru, stronger than Guru, and I picked him up and carried him around the mat like a chump.
Okay,
And
well, there you go.
Arman's way better than me, and Greg Hardy's way better than Guru. So imagine that.
Dude, how badly do you want to see Arman Tsarukyan? Are you like me? Do you want to see Arman Tsarukyan now fight for the title after all of this stuff?
Honestly, I don't really care. I mean, it's just another guy. I don't know. He reminds me a lot of Khamzat. I don't get excited for those heavy pressure fighters. I want to see guys just fucking get in there and sling and knock people out. That's what I like about MMA. I know you like the totality of the sport, of incorporating the wrestling, incorporating the grappling. I just don't, man. Dude, okay, think about this. Like, I came into the gym this morning. I just left the gym. I'm headed to the high school right now. I got to watch Jake Shields and Nate Diaz grapple. Like,
Oh, that's cool.
like for 30 minutes, you know, and then hit mitts and then shadow box. Like, if I want to watch high level grappling, I'm just going to go to Extreme Couture and watch the best guys in the world grapple. I don't care to turn on my TV and watch the same shit. I want to see guys get knocked out. I want to see guys get their face caved in. I want to see guys bleed. I want to see guys get fucked up. I just don't care to watch wrestling and grappling. I get to watch high level grappling wrestling every single day. And not to mention, I coach at probably the best high school in all of Vegas. And I get to go watch right now. I get to go watch 2 more hours of high level wrestling.
Well, okay, that's all fair, but remember, rewatch Arman Tsarukyan in his last fight against Dan Hooker, because it was a lot of striking. I think Arman's got amazing striking. That's why I like him so much. He's not just a grappling heavy style. He mixes it all together. He's a really, really amazing and dynamic mixed martial artist. So in my opinion, I just am becoming a bigger and bigger fan of his. Plus, he's doing more interviews. He's getting out there. He's funny. He's like, people look, they were talking about him on the broadcast of RAF, and they were saying, I think we lost Justin, but they were talking about him as being the bad boy. I think it was Juliana Pena was like, yeah, Arman is the bad boy, and I like that. She's like, don't you know us ladies? We all like the bad boy. So I think Arman Tsarukyan, he's got some power as a star, and I can't wait to see him back in there ASAP. And I really, really hope we're going to get to see him fight Ilya. All right. So the next story is, we got RDR in an interview recently, and Justin, you just tell me when you got to go. Justin, you got it.
Yeah,
you got to go.
I'll tell you in a minute. Go.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a minute.
But yeah, so
ahead, keep
RDR
talking.
is back. he's taken time off and he's done some rehabilitation. He's gotten a lot of blood work done. And he said now with his team, he finally has his body back. He said his testosterone was extremely low. He said a lot of his hormones were out of balance, out of whack. So he said he finally did an entire top to bottom analysis of his blood work and everything, hormones, all that stuff. Now he's back in the mix. He's ready to go. Justin, we got RDR ready to come back, and I think we're going to see a return to the old RDR. He said he's not going to overwork himself, not going to overtrain like he's been doing so far or up till now. Who do you want to see RDR get in there and fight next? I got my answer. What about you?
But you go first.
DDP.
Ooh, I do like that, man. I think DDP is going to outwork him, man. And I was really unimpressed with his last performance, of his output. And everyone can say that, I'm going to change my game plan and, go less output. And I say that every single fight. Next thing I know, I get in there. What's up, bro? You busy? Yeah, give me 1 minute. I say that every time, and I think DDP is going to put him in an uncomfortable spots where he's going to have to try to work out. And I do like that matchup, and that's a great matchup for DDP to get back into the win column because we know no matter what happens, he's not going to gas out.
If it's not DDP, who do you want to see? Who do you want to see RDR fight?
Pull up all the top 10 guys if you don't mind.
Okay, let me see right now because I think he'd be RDR is awesome. I think if he gets one good victory, if he gets right back in there and gets a really big victory, I think he could be close to a title shot the next fight or maybe one more. But here, let's take a look at the rankings, and we're gonna look at middleweight. Okay, so RDR, God, he got dropped pretty badly. RDR is all the way down here. I mean, RDR versus Izzy would be a fun fight.
That was going to be the next one I said. I'd like to see RDR versus Izzy, a guy that's been there and done that. Let's see if RDR can compete with the top level because I think Izzy obviously was at the top at one point. I don't think he's as good as he once was, but it'd be a good test for RDR.
So that would be a great fight. I could see him fighting the loser of Strickland versus Fluffy. I think if Strickland beats Fluffy, I think he's going straight up to get a title shot. Well, I'm going to mute you, Justin. He's going to go straight up to get a title shot, and then he could have Fluffy Hernandez. But if Strickland loses, then yeah, maybe Strickland versus RDR could be an interesting fight, and that one's coming up pretty soon. So we shall see. But I just thought it was pretty big news and pretty exciting to see that RDR is back and he's feeling, according to him, I mean, you never know, right? But I believe RDR. He said he's feeling back better than ever. So I think we're going to see a renewed and revamped RDR come in and do some damage in the middleweight division. Last topic here. Khamzat doing his crazy call outs once again. He's calling out Pereira for a White House fight. Now, apparently him and Pereira have been going back and forth. I want to see if I can pull up the Pereira text exchanges. Hold on. Let's see what I can find here. But apparently they've been going back and forth, and he said, Alex is not my level, and UFC knows that. He's the best striker in the world. I give him respect. He has knockout power and everything. But in MMA, he's not my level. And then Alex Pereira says, that guy says he wants to fight with me. He's got to get out there. Understand? He's far, but I could fight him in his area if he wants. Let me look at you directly. Let's fight in your area. Let's fight. Oh, wait. He said, I think that's an old quote. He wants to fight in grappling. But anyways, Justin, do you think there's any chance that Khamzat might move up to lightweight? But Alex Pereira wants to move out of lightweight. Do you think there's any chance that we're going to see a Khamzat Alex Pereira fight anytime soon, especially at the White House?
I don't think so, and I don't think Khamzat's deserving. I know you're going to disagree with that take, but he just doesn't fight enough for me, man. That's why I know like I said, I know he's your favorite, but he just doesn't fight enough for me. And honestly, I don't get excited to watch him fight, just because. I mean, like you look at Alex Pereira, who's always trying to book fights. He's saved events before, and I just don't think Khamzat's ever done that before. And I just don't get excited to watch him fight. When we get hypothetical situations like this, where it's not a textbook lineup for Khamzat, I just don't think he's going to take a swing at it. I mean, we can talk about it all we want. I just don't see it happening.
Fair enough. And I would say that I think, as I mentioned before, I think hopefully time will prove me right. I think you're going to see a different level of activity from Khamzat this year. And I hope he gets in one fight before the White House card. Maybe not, but I think shortly after the White House card, I bet you he's going to be teeing up another fight, whether it's a defense or a potential move up to light heavyweight, or a potential move down to welterweight. Guys, if you didn't see it, I made a video last night, or sorry, actually earlier today, about Khamzat fighting at 170. I think there's a reasonable probability that he may actually try and cut down to 170 with Coach Calavita and take on the line of fighters there. And he might have a super fight against Islam Makhachev. Last hypothetical, Justin, if we did see Khamzat Chimaev go down to 170 while Islam Makhachev is the current champ, and if those two guys fought, how do you see that fight going? I have my answer, and it's kind of a bummer because I love both fighters so much, but how do you see a fight against Islam versus Khamzat at 170?
You know, Islam's proven me wrong every time I've voted against him. I think he's more of a complete MMA fighter than Khamzat. Khamzat's obviously great. I think their wrestling skills are very similar. I just think Islam's a little bit more complete than Khamzat. And we're talking about a hypothetical situation of him going down to 170. The closest he's been to 170 in recent years is he missed weight by like 8 or 10 pounds a couple of years ago, if you remember when he fought Dustin Burns. I think that's when he fought Dustin Burns.
Gilbert Burns.
Or Gilbert, I always say Dustin, but yeah, Gilbert Burns. And I mean, it's just a total hypothetical situation to where until he even gets close to making weight, it's not even something that I even want to consider.
Yeah, fair enough. Just a couple clarifying points. That weight miss was after the UFC already told him to start rehydrating when they said, hey, we don't want you making weight, just rehydrate. That's why he was so far over for that reason. But on top of that, he's now working with Coach Calavita. He was doing all the things wrong, basically overtraining, not cutting weight properly. So now he's dialed that in. That's why he thinks he can go back down to 170 under Coach Calavita's guidance. So I think it would be a different type of Khamzat at 170. I think it would be very interesting. But you're right. It is very hypothetical at this point, but watch my video, guys, that I released earlier today, because there is some good backing evidence as to Khamzat actually thinking that this is a high probability that he could move down to 170 after one title defense, but we shall see. Anyways, we got a couple of comments.
I gotta go. Who's there?
All right, bounce. Take it easy, peace. So we got a couple of comments, and then I'm going to close out the show. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Tehran says, I think Izzy retires sometime this year. Very well could. Very well could. I mean, he's making, though, a lot of money per fight, and he's still a draw. People are still going to want to see him fight. But, yeah, I could see that as well if he wants to finally pull away. You know, he did mention, which I really, really respect, on one of his interviews, that he's not looking to transition into boxing or some other martial art as he retires, because he says that they are inferior martial arts compared to MMA. MMA is the full package. It's everything. It's the closest thing to a real fight. And I really respected when he says that, because that's the way I feel. It is the superior sport, in my opinion, to all these other offshoots. Western says, I could see that Tehran, he's been passed up, or maybe he'd move up to 205 before he's done. I don't know. He's never mentioned. Well, he did move up to 205 once to take on what's his name for the belt. Polish Power. I'm blanking on his name right now, but he did do that back in the day. I don't know if he'll ever do it again. I'm leaning towards no, because I think you're right. I think he's very close to the end of his career. His age, I want to say 39. Let me double check. That's my recollection. He is no. Oh my God, I was so wrong. Izzy's only 36. That's crazy. Maybe he will move up. Maybe he will still have a long career ahead of him. I don't know. I mean, he's probably making so much money per fight. You never know. He might want to stick around. Yeah. Jan Blahojevic. Thank you, Western. And Tehran says, yeah, that was 2021 when Izzy moved up. Yeah. Moved up for one fight, lost, came right back down, has been at middleweight ever since. So we shall see what happens. But that's all we got for you guys today in today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed the content that we discussed. Make sure to check out that video, like I said, where I talked about Khamzat moving to 170. I think it's pretty interesting. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts as well, if you think there's some credibility or legitimacy to that idea. And yeah, that's it. We appreciate it. We are going to keep pumping out content leading up to UFC 324. We are just under 2 weeks away. Let's go. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Take it easy.